this sometimes, and so like I don't adapt well to things that are either late or.
You're live on Facebook.
Oh, wonderful! Hey, Facebook Live, how's it going? You are on Talk 107.3 Facebook. We are going to set up the share and the watch party so everybody can join in on Geaux Rouge, and then we're going to start this thing in about 2 seconds. So bear with me.
I gotta find out why you're not registering on a microphone at all.
Okay, well you can do that. Geaux Rouge.
You are on mic too. You should.
Yeah, this is an actual radio show. This is what happens. That's great. Brian's good at that.
You should try doing it when it's live.
Yeah.
Not Facebook.
Check,
I'll bet on that.
check. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can, but you're hella low.
It's gonna be great.
It's gonna be fun.
It's 30 minutes. Look,
It's fine.
It's good for you guys either way. So
It's good.
Check for me one more time.
Check. 1, 2, 3.
You're at a normal level. Go ahead.
Check. 1, 2, 3.
You're super hot.
No, I like that.
See?
That's what my
Dr.
wife
Brandon
says.
Romano, super hot.
Hey, that's not the first time.
Wait a second here. Wait a second. Check for me one more time, Franz.
Check.
What the hell? Who did this? One more time.
Check.
All right, we're good to go now.
Everything's good?
Yep. Let me play y'all's intro and get y'all started. Somehow Mike 2 got.
You're good. You're good. We're just rolling with it.
We're blaming Comic-Con.
I like Comic-Con.
Well, Jay and Chuck were at Comic-Con on
Let's do it.
Friday, and so it's a remote kit on the other side. All right, here we go. Hang tight. Stand by.
We are live from the Talk 107.3 studio for the Geaux Rouge show. This is attorney Franz Borghardt. We've got a great show lined up today. We're going to talk about some criminal justice issues with some very talented individuals that are making Baton Rouge a better place through the criminal justice system. We're also going to be talking with the LSU Foundation today, hearing about the stuff that's going to be going on with them. It's great to be here, Brian. How are you doing?
I'm fantastic.
I'm glad. You know who else is fantastic? Some of these show sponsors we got. We've got Sullivan's Steakhouse. We've got Breck. We have Louisiana Tech Park. We also have the Borghardt Law Firm. That's my criminal defense firm. I don't know if you knew this or not, Brian. I'm a criminal defense attorney. I'm kind of a big deal.
Well, I mean, when are you a criminal defense
All the time,
attorney?
baby, 24/7.
You're here full time,
24/7. Don't let my clients
You are-
hear that. So we also have Smith, Shanklin, and Sosa, a premier personal injury firm, a go-to firm. These guys are not the kind of guys that are going to be on a billboard. They're much better than that, and they will take care of you. And lastly, we have realtor Brittany Melanson from Red Stick Partners. She'll list it for you, she'll move it, and then she'll help you buy a new one. So we have some great stuff to get today. We have Aishala Burgess from TRUCE, the executive director of TRUCE.
Yes, good
We
morning.
have clinical psychologist Dr. Brandon Romano with a specialty. You're kind of a specialty in criminal forensics, right? That's fair to say, Doc, right?
Fair, absolutely.
So we've got you guys in today because we can't have a show about talking about the best parts about Baton Rouge without having an honest and sincere conversation about criminal law and criminal justice. And not from the traditional, who's to blame, whose
Right.
fault is it. I want to have a positive conversation about folks that are really making Baton Rouge better through either mental health or through what TRUCE is doing. So I thought it'd be perfect to have you guys on. And, we're going to talk about TRUCE first, and then we're going to talk about making Baton Rouge safer through mental health treatment. And then we're going to have kind of a joint conversation. So let's start with you. Tell us about TRUCE.
So TRUCE is a nonprofit currently. We serve young people 14 to 24 that may be involved in groups or gangs in our city. They may
Okay.
be on probation or parole, or maybe it's just a young person that's dropped out of school and they're interested in redirecting their lives. And so we help with that. We have 2 full-time social workers that's working with us. where we provide, we make sure they receive the necessary referrals for mental health treatment, any
Right.
type of substance abuse treatment. We help them with resume writing. We help them find employment. We make sure if they're interested in getting back in school, we help direct that. And we take away all barriers, Franz, which is really cool and really important.
So talk to me about taking away barriers.
So transportation. We
Okay.
know that transportation is an issue for a lot of people in our city. And currently we provide Uber. So
That's
that's
awesome.
an excuse that you won't have. So if there's a job
Right.
interview, we will Uber you to your job interview. If you need anything for work, if you need a TWIC card, we make sure and we pay for that.
Okay.
If you need different supplies for your job, you're just starting out and you need help, we provide that. If you're in school and you're having issues paying for books, those types of supplies, we will supply that as well. If we have a young person that's recently returned to Baton Rouge from incarceration and there were issues with getting his driver's license, and so we help with that. So we do our best to remove those barriers that young people will find that will prevent them from moving forward.
And as a criminal defense attorney who has a responsibility sometimes of doing some social engineering with my clients,
Mm-hmm.
these things that we're talking about sound like excuses, but in real life, these are legitimate
Right.
barriers.
It's
Like,
really
yeah,
serious.
Dr. Romano and I have a I guess patient client right now who doesn't have transportation, and we're working to get him to get transportation from his home to his job and to into counseling. And so that's amazing that you guys are able to do that. So let me ask you, how is this possible? How do we have TRUCE? How is it funded? Like, because this is big proactive
It's huge,
work
yeah.
here. Yeah.
It is. So we have, we're grateful for two business owners in our city that decided to put up our starting money for sure.
Okay.
And a lot of companies, they've seen our work, they're enjoying our work. And so a lot of people actually, they've been donating. So currently, majority of what we're doing is privately funded.
Okay. So we have Baton Rouge citizens investing back
Yes.
into Baton Rouge.
Yes.
But there are ways for citizens to also involve themselves in this
Sure.
that don't involve dollars and cents.
Yes,
You guys
for
are
sure.
doing some cleanups too,
We
right?
are. So we're very big into our community and reaching out to people. Again, transportation is an issue. So we will meet the community where they are. So we do neighborhood meet and greets, which we walk the neighborhood. We ask what's going on in your neighborhood. We stop young people. We're asking them, are you in school? What's your barrier? What's going on? And we provide food. We have snacks. And we invite anyone that's a part of Baton Rouge to come out
Right.
and walk with us. And that's a monthly activity. And usually it's on a Monday. And we're looking at doing another one possibly for beginning our new year, January 27th, possibly in South Baton Rouge. We have not decided on an exact location. But if you're interested, I will invite the entire city to come out and be a part of that. We also clean up neighborhoods. So if we walk a neighborhood and we notice that there's a lot going on, some grass may need cutting, there's a lot of litter, we come back.
So
and we
there's
clean that neighborhood.
there's a theory behind, and not to get into psychology, but there's a theory behind if you clean up a neighborhood,
Yes.
it's the broken window effect, right? To where if you clean up a neighborhood and you make it a safer appearing place, it by
Yeah.
extension becomes a less criminal place,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
So if people want to get more information about TRUCE, I'm hesitant to ask you about what TRUCE stand for. I know it's an acronym, right?
Let me tell you, so it does not stand for anything.
It's just TRUCE.
It's just TRUCE, and our kids came up with the name in the community.
I like it.
When we were deciding on a name, we allowed the community to be a part of that, and that was pretty cool. And so the kids came up with TRUCE. They came up with our colors, so we are lime green and charcoal gray.
Yep.
And so they had a part of everything, and that was important for us too because they felt like they had a voice in moving forward with this program, and they are a part of it.
So you guys are on social media.
We're on social media, TRUCE_BR,
TRUCE
Instagram
_BR.
and Facebook.
Yes.
And we have a website, www.callatrucebr.org.
So I'm going to get with Aishala about posting something on Geaux Rouge,
Yeah.
Facebook, about how people can get involved, as well as they need to go to your social media, obviously.
Sure.
What's the thing you're most proud about through this process?
I love seeing our young people once they find themselves as being successful. And when we're measuring success, Franz, it's not like, oh my God, you're graduated from high school. It's small steps. So if you're getting up and you're going to work every day, that's successful to me because you're doing something that you didn't do. So the pride, we had a young man graduated from the North Baton Rouge initiative in the electrical program. That was amazing. We had 13 kids at Terra High School that we work with that the school dean would be dropouts and they would not finish high school, and 7 of them graduated. So we're really excited about our young people. We're excited about just the direction that I can see our young people going when they're given just a little bit of hope and an opportunity to do something different.
So it's amazing because we fail to remember sometimes that everything is connected.
Yes.
Education, employment,
Yes.
The criminal justice system. So I love what you're doing. It's great to have a proactive entity that's getting in front instead of being behind.
Right.
And I think it is fixing things. So we're going to change gears now. We have Dr. Brandon Romano. Doc, how's it going?
It's going well, thank you.
So tell them a little bit about who you are, what you do, and then we're going to jump into a conversation about making Baton Rouge better through mental health.
I am a clinical psychologist. I've been in the field for 31 years, been licensed for over 15 years, and my specialty is criminal or forensic psychology, which basically means I deal a lot with the criminal justice system for adults and juveniles.
Very well respected. In fact, from the limited time I was an ADA at the DA's office here in East Baton Rouge to the number of years I've been a criminal defense attorney, Dr. Romano is one of those guys that you, if you have the means to get to him and get your client evaluated, it's the gold standard, so to speak. And I'm not just saying that because you're here, but how do we make Baton Rouge, changing gears, because we only have so much time, unfortunately, how do we make Baton Rouge safer through mental health? What does that mean?
Sure. So, and speaking from obviously personal experience and what we've seen, in the community and what's happening these days and what we read on the news or what we see on the news, majority of our clients come through the criminal justice system, right? So we see them through probation, we see them through the courts, the district attorney's offices. And so that kind of that subset of the population, the criminal population, comes across our threshold primarily for the purposes of an evaluation and or treatment, right? So, and the big question that the courts and everyone wants to know in cases where we have a criminal factor driving or a mental health factor driving crimes, right, is that we're looking for recidivism. We're getting the high risk crimes in Baton Rouge. We're getting the domestic violence, the sex crimes, the substance use. We're getting the high risk or what the court perceives as high risk, or which statistically in some cases is. We're evaluating these clients for their risk for recidivism. We're evaluating their mental health, their substance use, and psychosocial stressors, things that are not technically diagnosable, right? And so once we get those clients in from a criminal perspective, we start focusing and targeting risk factors, protective factors, things to help these people out. We're looking at their psychiatric symptoms. We're looking at their psychological functioning. We're looking at how we can address psychosocial stressors, which are those minor things of clinical concern, but they don't rise to the level of diagnoses. So we're trying to put intervention in place, right? We're trying to reduce the risk for recidivism, therefore help Baton Rouge see less crime, address those, and then address also any psychiatric undiagnosed or unmanaged psychiatric symptoms and to improve psychological functioning.
I want to ask you about undiagnosed and unmanaged because, I imagine that a common core problem is a lot of people have a lot of stuff going on from a mental health perspective. I know that's a very unsophisticated way of saying it. That goes undiagnosed, unnoticed. Correct. Until after the fact.
Correct.
So how can we be proactive about that? Because, look, often is the case that when we have violent crime streaks, we start pointing fingers at different entities. And I've often said, that's not fair. Irrational crime that stems from domestic violence or just random acts of violence, it's kind of hard there's no GPS device that alerts the Baton Rouge Police Department, hey, there's about to be something over here in this house on this block. You need to be alert. We're not in Minority Report.
Exactly.
So how do we, I guess the question is from, and I'm thinking of this in terms of TRUCE and what TRUCE is doing, how can we be more proactive as a city? Is it even possible to start looking at things and not saying, hey, you've got a mental health issue that's going undiagnosed, but you might, if we're not keeping an eye on what's going on in your life and your world, this may lead to something. What can we do to be more proactive about that?
I mean, that's an excellent question, and I'm obviously sitting next to TRUCE, right? And that was one of the things that came to mind. We have, people will Google anything these days, right? You're at a party, you hear something, you get in your car, you Google it, right? We Google everything. nowadays, but people don't Google mental health. They don't Google drug addiction, right? So, you know, I for fun, I Googled mental health in Baton Rouge, which I never do because I know pretty much where everything is. And just hundreds and hundreds of things came up. The resources are there, right? But people don't know it. That, you know, they know where the fast food restaurant is. They know where their dentist is. They know where the barbershop is. They know where things are, but they don't know where mental health is. And there's also that stigma that we're still trying to get past, that it's okay to have mental health symptoms, right? If you have high blood pressure, you're going to take medication.
You're going to get help.
Right? That's right. If you have depression or anxiety or psychosis, you should get help, but we're still trying to battle that stigma, right? And so, you know, the resources are there. And to answer your question, Franz, we come in contact with so many resources every day that we don't even realize they're resources, right? Friends of ours, neighbors, have had contact with mental health. You know, half the kids in a classroom are on ADHD medication. You can ask their parents. You know, your priest, your physician. Start with your family physician. You know, start with a family member. And then when people, friends and family, you can start there, right? You can even start with a self-help book, right? When friends and family and others, employers, say, hey, there's a problem, you know, whether it's jealousy or low self-esteem or can't get along with your coworkers, or you're controlling in a relationship, you know, or you're viewing inappropriate media on the internet. These things can ultimately lead to domestic violence, sex crimes. So what we can do in that not criminal population, but to target those who have not reached the judicial system yet, right? Those who have not come to the attention of law enforcement, we can intervene, right? On the front end before it rises to the level of criminal offending. Simple jealousy and controlling behavior leads to domestic violence. We know that. So coming in contact, Franz, with family, friends, coworkers, but we have to get past that barrier and that stigma of not asking for help.
So what's interesting to me is we seem to be at a period of time in the criminal justice system, here at least, where we are acknowledging that mental health is a part of the conversation. So we're doing things to accommodate that. We're doing things to acknowledge that maybe keeping the guy or gal in jail that has a legitimate mental health issue and doesn't need to be in jail to deteriorate, quote unquote, more, is maybe something we need to start having conversations about. So it's good. It's good that we're talking about this. You mentioned resources, and you mentioned some of the common sense resources. What about some of the professional resources we have? I know you have a list of, this is where you can go to get this, or this is where you can go to get this. What are resources for people out there in terms of, okay, you acknowledge that we may need to go talk to somebody. We feel comfortable saying, hey, Franz may have some issues. Where do we go from there?
You know, and
Franz does have some issues.
I know, I wasn't going to mention that. But we have, you know, we have so many resources. This could be an hour and a half discussion, but to kind of narrow it down.
And what we can do is also, Dr. Romano, we can direct people to your social media page, which is on Facebook.
Yes, it is.
And we'll let you guys post some resources on that too, which I know you will.
Right, and our website actually has a laundry list of resources like NAMI.
What's that website?
NAMI, or mine, or
your website?
Oh, it's Romano Psych, ROMANO. PSYCH.com, right? It's RomanoPsych.com, ROMANOPSYCH.com.
Now, what's on that website? I interrupted you.
What's on our website?
Yeah.
Well, obviously just a general business website, but it also has...
No, the resources, I mean.
it has NAMI, National Alliance on Mental Illness. It has SAMHSA, the government, Substance Abuse and Mental Health Administration. So it has a lot of resources. 1-800, you know, we have hotlines, we have helplines, we have all that on the website as well, right? So there are some links there on that website. But also to kind of answer your question and kind of you know, bring it all together,
right,
is intervention starts in the schools. We know we have early intervention programs in schools for children with behavior problems. We know the schools have counselors in the schools, guidance counselors. So we know it starts right there as children, where the resources become available.
Right.
But your other resources we have, and to piggyback what you said a few moments ago, Franz, the criminal justice system is doing a better job, right? You know, the pretrial intervention programs, the diversion programs are heavily focused on treatment.
Right.
We know we have drug court, we have mental health courts. We're forming all sorts of courts now, right? You have in the jail systems, the clients will get mental health treatment. There's psychiatrists and social workers and LPCs in the jail system. We know there's faith-based services in the community with the religious. We know the volunteer and the charitable organizations, right? Like Salvation Army, St. Vincent de Paul. We know there's resources through those organizations, nonprofits, TRUCE. There we go, right? So we know we have a plethora of resources. And you know, it's simple. A simple Google can pull up a lot of that for us. We have community mental health clinics as well.
You know, I'm going to go full circle to something you said earlier, because often is the case, I have to direct people to mental health evaluations or substance abuse evaluations or just AA meetings.
Yes.
And people are like, well, where do I find that? And I literally say, Google.
Yes.
Like if you Google, you know, Dutchtown and substance abuse evaluations, something's going to come up.
You can go AA meetings in Baton Rouge and you will get a list.
Right.
Yes.
So, you know, there's part of it, you know, what I'm experiencing, and we have about 4 minutes left, what I'm experiencing a lot of is what you would call, and what we call in the business, co-occurring disorders. So it's mental health merged with issues of substance abuse, and we don't know if it's the proverbial chicken and the egg. Is it the substance abuse that's causing the mental health, or is the mental health causing the substance abuse?
Absolutely.
So that is the common thing I'm seeing, and that's a hard conversation with people, particularly from my standpoint when I look at a client and I say, hey, we need to get you a mental health evaluation. And they're like, well, why do I need to get a mental health evaluation? And I'm like, just show them that you're not a risk, or just show them that you're taking this serious. But I also include in the conversation, because if it pings something, we want to address that issue. We don't want it to be, it's not just to show that you're not quote unquote crazy, it's to address it. Substance abuse evaluations, I send people to get substance abuse evaluations all the time, and they're like, well, what do you think it's going to say? And I have no idea.
Here's what's really interesting. Since the majority of our clients are, and we see everything else. We see children and ADHD, academic problems. We see everything. But the majority of our clients coming through for a criminal matter, it is amazing, and it puts a smile on the therapist's faces, right, of all the therapists in our office that treats the clients. When clients come in and they are oftentimes pushing back against me, you know, do the evaluation. I tell them what things are. I'm getting a little resistance, right? I'm telling them what all of our clinical data does, because as psychologists, we actually base things on data, right? We're data-driven decision-making in our reports. So we're kind of the only profession that does that in a mental health aspect. But when we get pushback from clients, it's always pleasurable to see them 1 or 2 or 3 sessions into it saying, you know what? You're right. You're right. And I really never thought about it, but I'm okay with this. And now we can't even discharge them because they enjoy therapy so much.
So the takeaway message from both TRUCE and you, Doc, is there's just some things we can't do on our own. And mental health, whether it's what you do for a living or whether it's helping a youth in TRUCE, it's acknowledging that we need to provide assistance that also allows confidence, allows, autonomy, that allows these people a fighting chance. So we got about 2 minutes left. Let's remind people, TRUCE's website is
www.callatrucebr.org.
And then one more time, Romano.
It's www.romanopsych.com.
And I'm excited. You guys are doing some great work. Look, I'm glad that you guys were able to find some time to come on the Geaux Rouge show, and we're definitely going to have you guys back. Sure. Ladies and gentlemen out there, we're going to take a break, and then we're going to come back with segment 2. We got LSU Foundation in the house and some wonderful women that are also doing some side community work that we want to introduce you to. So stay tuned. We're going to go on Facebook Live. We're going to stay on Facebook Live, but we'll be right back with the second segment. All right, so you guys get one of those hats. Take the blue ones. There's a purple one there for somebody else, unfortunately. Aishala, thank you very much for coming by. Appreciate it.
Anytime.
Doc,
as always,
I'll be in touch as always. And then y'all need to, before you leave, give him your contact info, because he does run a fantastic, I'm in the mic, right? A fantastic radio show in the morning, every morning, Talk 107.3.
You mostly just mean Wednesdays. I know you. It's
That's not true.
Wednesdays.
Can you take a photo of us before we leave?
Yes.
Before they leave?
What's that?
So
You don't have to wear the hat, Doc.
Okay.
you were at a town hall at the Goodwood Library. I want to say it was about 5 or 6 months ago when we were having a very violent summer. I want to say we should be good. Let's do one sideways.
Sounds like something she would do.
Yes. and I just remember you brought a level of energy to the room that was ridiculous.
She's kind of good people.
Yeah.
You know, I love my kids, but we also have to acknowledge the things that we have to do too as a community.
That's a balance, right? The balance is justice, and I'm not quoting Batman here, but balance is the whole point behind justice. It's about balancing the community's need with fairness, with and I was telling the judge recently who was kind of mad at me for what I was suggesting. I said, we take chances in the justice system. He goes, what do you mean? And I said, well, we don't just lock people up for the maximum in every single case. We take calculated chances. So you guys have a good one. I'll be in touch. And then if you see those girls, tell them to come on in.
Okay.
Please.
Let's see. I left my wallet.
Yeah. No sweat. We can hook it up later.
Let me grab them. The LSU Foundation.
It's you're talking about Googling mental health. I was at a different job working for a marketing company. Psychiatry Associates was one of our Dr. Fletcher's.
Absolutely.
So Facebook, don't go anywhere. We're going to be
Google
getting the
mental health
LSU
adverse,
Foundation
and if I were
ladies
working
coming in.
online
Come on in.
or,
Come on in.
Inbound marketing.
You're good.
So,
Come on in. So two of you are going to have to share a microphone, and one of you will have your own. There is no good way of me telling you this, ladies.
the behavioral
Sitting in these
hospital would always
chairs
come up
makes
first
you look
every
dumpy.
time you Google it.
So if you want to stand, I'm a big dude. I'm not. That's not. That's not
It's
from
like,
place
whoa,
of
that's
judgment.
not where I'm at.
So if you want to stand, you can stand.
You know?
No.
We have a website.
So you can-
that we work with, and we have actually had this discussion about
So what?
how
Totally up to you.
roll
If you want to
things
move the
up
chairs
and
out of the
down
way, you can.
Google search.
One microphone.
And there's ways
one
to do it.
microphone. So totally up to you.
Who
We're
is
going to go
your,
back live. So
You
we're
can
on
modify.
Facebook Live right now, but we're going to go live in
Are they
on the
local?
segment.
Yes,
So
they are.
get
Okay.
situated,
Right
get
here,
comfortable.
modify.
He'll adjust us in terms of the.
Andre, phenomenal
Hi.
company.
Hey, how's it going?
I missed
Hey Facebook.
Okay.
It's okay. I'm going to start it over.
You have a piece of paper? I'm just write down.
You're going to stand right here.
Okay, great.
How's it going? I'm Franz, by the way. Nice to meet you.
Yeah.
Krista, I'm actually allowed to video with my little baby right before I went back to work.
Good to meet you again, Krista.
Yes, good
Sorry,
to
I'm
see you.
horrible at meeting people.
I have a case
Hey,
right
how are
now
you?
at home.
It's my job
Tip it
to
up.
remember.
Hi,
He
Franz.
was kicked out of school. Couldn't go back to school until he saw me, right? He had to do a wrist
I
assessment.
got a special Geaux Rouge hat for you.
Had a lot of
I will wear it.
pictures,
Is it really?
circles drawn around them,
Failing.
radius. So the school
I'm so excited.
So we're going to talk. Not right now. You don't have to. So here's the deal. She is, even though you're a vegetarian, right? We call you vegan or vegetarian.
I'm a vegetarian.
Even though she's vegetarian, when I want advice on food, this is the one you go to.
That's your girl.
Like, she's the one. Have you eaten at this place? And you're like, huh? And she's like, this place is really good. And you're like,
I'm shocked you haven't known yet.
and then you go and you're like,
It's amazing.
that place was really, really good. So,
I have a meat eater husband.
Probably came over Claire's
Shoe
place.
off.
Brian Haldane, can we
Yes.
kick this pig and start the second segment?
I mean, not unless I want to be rude to the
No,
guests
no,
that
that's
are-
me being rude, but they're here and they have other things to do.
Lord, man.
It's so good to see you.
You too.
Bye, guys. Thank y'all.
All right.
I've got LSU Foundation in the house. They're big. They're big deal.
Oh, see, y'all got bumped.
That's not.
No. You might as well have just said bigger deal. That's.
They are.
I know. We're still on Facebook Live, Franz.
Should we be talking to you?
You're talking
Or am I
into the
looking at
mic.
this? No, like, but am I looking at you? Am I looking at the ceiling? Am I looking at
I mean, really?
that camera?
Did we just stare at this the whole time?
That is
Oh.
what's airing.
Like on Skype?
Funny.
I'm a narcissist. I can't help it. So,
I would get neurotic.
well, if you're already neurotic, it's not really a big deal. So, tell me when you're ready, buddy.
Yeah. Stand by.
Welcome back to the Geaux Rouge Show. This is Attorney Franz Borghardt. We're on Talk 107.3. For the second segment of our episode, we have some special guests, Brian. We've got LSU Foundation in the house. We've got 3 women that work for the foundation that are also doing some great community stuff. We're going to get to them in a second, though. Let's talk about our sponsors real fast. The Geaux Rouge Show is brought to you by Sullivan Steakhouse, Breck, Louisiana Tech Park, the Borghardt Law Firm, that criminal law firm that I'm an attorney in. My firm sponsors this. Makes it possible.
Yeah. Imagine that.
Awkward.
How'd you make that sale?
Actually, I cut a check. That's
Right.
how I did that. And then Realtor Brittany Melanson from Keller Williams Red Stick Partners. And last but not least, the law offices of Smith, Shanklin, Sosa, a go-to personal injury law firm. Wow, that's a lot of sponsors. So we have some special guests, Brian. We have Adrian, Owen. We have Krista, Raney, and Jessica Tate, all from the LSU Foundation, all in studio right now. And we're going to talk about LSU Foundation. That's why you're here. But we're also going to talk about what you amazing ladies are doing outside of your job. I know what Adrian's doing. I was in Leadership Baton Rouge with Adrian. I can see all the stuff, and I know you two are doing some amazing stuff. I don't know how you juggle it all, but we're going to talk about all of it. So how are you guys doing?
Doing great. Thanks for having us today.
Not a problem. So we're going to start. Krista, tell us a little bit about yourself. What do you do with LSU Foundation?
Sure. So my official title is Assistant Vice President for Development.
Okay.
What that means is I have the great pleasure of working with our comprehensive fundraising team, our deans, our academic leadership to build fundraising initiatives, projects, of course, work most importantly with our donors.
Okay.
At the end of the day, I'm a fundraiser as well. So
Fun times.
Yeah. So a decade in, and I'm still around. So I'm glad and fortunate for that.
Are you bulletproof?
I don't know.
Maybe,
about that.
maybe.
We're all feeling pretty bulletproof. It's all Joe Burrow's goodness is
Yes.
rubbing off on
Yes.
us. But yeah, so that's my day to day. But at the end of the day, I have the great pleasure of working with our team.
Wonderful.
Which is just awesome.
Adrian, what do you do with the foundation?
So my actual title, thank you, is Assistant Vice President for Advancement Services. So that's a really long way to kind of capture the operational arm. So IT, records and data management, donor relations, which Jessica works with me in, research and prospect management and analytics. So we're the back of the shop that kind of the engine that keeps us running, data that leverages the strategy.
Probably the most important part of the whole entire operation.
That is Krista. We're
Yeah,
like,
Krista,
put a bullet
Krista,
for that
Krista.
on Krista. Yeah.
So, and then lastly, Jessica, what do you do with the foundation?
So I'm the Senior Director of Donor Relations, and I have the esteemed pleasure to support Krista, and I get the fun job. I kind of think it's the best job with the foundation
agree.
to show donors the impact of their
Wonderful.
generosity.
So, okay, we're gonna go here first. If you're out there listening to this or watching this on Facebook Live, and I were to ask the question, what exactly does the LSU Foundation do? How would you answer that?
So I would say I'd capture it to say, we make magic happen for LSU. Period.
More.
For the
I need
people
more.
at LSU.
I need more. I need more.
So
that sounds
our-
awesome, by the way.
Yeah. Well, our job is to be great ambassadors and partners to our incredible, generous donors who use their hard-earned resources to take care of the people of LSU, right? So our
Okay.
students and for our faculty. And so we are there to facilitate making that happen.
So the money that's donated to you guys, to the foundation, where does that ultimately go? Because we know that there's TAF. We think we know where that goes. Where does the foundation money go?
Yeah, so we are the sole philanthropic fundraiser for academics at LSU.
Wonderful.
So everything we are raising goes directly to academics. So scholarships, professorships, research, all of that is made possible. Buildings. We have a science building campaign going on right now, if you
Cool.
want to support that. So we are fundraising purely for academics.
So if there was a thing that is least known about you guys, and I'm asking some softball questions because I want people that don't know anything about the foundation to at least have a bearing. If there's something that people don't know that you guys do that you wish they did, what would that be? If you had to pinpoint something, and we're going to go back to the science campaign because I want to talk about that.
I mean, the first thing that comes to my mind, and I'm curious what you'll say, is our Real Estate and Facilities Foundation, REF. So Nicholson Gateway would not be possible without the work of our Real Estate and Facilities Foundation. So they were able to help LSU purchase that property, develop it. We're going to be playing a pivotal role in the lakes development.
Cool.
So
When
lots
is
of
the-
stuff that really improves the community.
When is the lake development going to kick off? Because I was reading something on BRAF. When is that project going to kind of start? I know they have an idea of what they want to do.
I mean, they just closed RFPs.
They just closed RFPs and they narrowed it down to six. Potential contractors, and so I think it's just once we decide on who that person.
Those
is going
wheels
to
are
be.
turning.
Yeah.
So okay, Krista, what do you think is the best kept secret about LSU Foundation that people should know?
Well, first I would say, and I'm a little biased, but I think we just have rock star people that work there. I think to come and do the work that we do, you have to say yes to being to making magic, but being in the background. And so, when the headline is written about a great big gift, What is not written in the article, nor should it ever be, is either the fundraiser that was involved or the donor relations professional or our report writers who drafted the report that helped us to achieve that goal. And so you're coming. These people are servant leaders, and they really want to make an impact. The other thing I would say, if you'll indulge me on the donor side of things, is that Adrian is a great thing to note that people wouldn't think about with the foundation. The other thing I would say that happens on a donor side of things, people hear about scholarships because that's students are our rock stars. They are such good conduits for resources. But we have a lot of people who give unrestricted support to make up tiny margins for students that literally keep them in school and get them to graduation. And so this is sort of emerging in the last year. Our provost, Stacey Haney, is a huge champion for this. In some cases, $100 keeps a student in school and gets them across the stage of graduation. And we just see so much more of that happening. And the big gifts, the splashy $4 million, $10 million are what get written about. But there's some $100 gifts and $200 gifts that literally get students to graduation.
Do you guys ever hear back from these foundation scholarship recipients? And do they ever come back and give you guys feedback of, and talk to you guys about what difference your generosity, the efforts you guys make or made? Tell me about that, because that's something I'm very much interested in. Like feedback from graduates that, but for that $100 donation, but for you guys setting up a scholarship, they just wouldn't have gotten wherever their destination was.
Yeah. We had a really neat story the other day. It was a scholarship recipient with a college, the Honors College. And while he was there, not only did it afford him the opportunity to come to LSU, be a part of the Honors College, but that is also where he met his wife. And he soon to be wife, he was going to propose, and it was amazing because Roger Ogden, a generous donor for the university, obviously made that space possible and has been such a true supporter. And that student reached out wanting to get a copy of the photo because he wanted to send a personal letter to Roger to let him know the impact of his gift has had, not only him bringing him to LSU, but his life as a whole. So those are the fun stories that we get to hear about and tell about, and it really makes, everything worthwhile.
So I tell people all the time when they ask me, hey, what's it like being a criminal defense attorney? And I'm like, you guys think it's just this, I'm like in the mud and like blood and dirt, and what it's like is I know you have images, but when the guy that comes up to you, the client that you don't recognize from 10 years ago comes up to you and says, hey, you helped me out when I was in this lurch and I got a handle on my drug addiction and now I'm an entrepreneur and all these things, and you're just like, you need that. Your soul needs that kind of validation and feedback. I like the fact that you guys are doing this stuff. So let me ask you this. You mentioned the science project. I need more. I need more. Tell me about this new project. We're shuffling microphones, Brian. It's my fault because we've got three great guests. You can use that microphone. We got three great guests, and I just didn't anticipate how much power each one of them has. So it's my fault.
We are a force.
We got this one if we need it.
No, you're good. You're good.
Okay.
So I'm going to let Krista talk about the majority of the science building because I don't remember the total numbers. But what I will say is that nearly every student on campus comes through the science classrooms, and we are at capacity right now. So to hit enrollment targets, we need more space in science classrooms. Krista's going to say it in a lot warmer, fuzzier way than I am, though.
Warmer and fuzzier, Krista.
I think Adrian's off to a great start. So what I would say is, we as a university, I don't know that we ever dreamt that we would necessarily be in the facilities business, but about 10 years ago, we built a business education complex.
Right.
Quickly followed by Patrick F. Taylor Hall, which many of us will lovingly remember as SEBA. If you've not seen it, it's pretty fabulous. And you can actually find your way. The numbers make sense. And so we now are embarking on a $90 million journey. We hope that this will be another public-private partnership with the state. They've been a great partner for business and engineering. And Adrian's right. We need a place that every one of our LSU students walks through a science classroom. Whether if you're like me and we're a history major and took biology for non-majors, or you just know you're going to be that next great doctor, and so you're in those science courses. Every one of them walks through the science building. Right now, we're at capacity. Beyond that, our facilities don't tell our students that we take necessarily science education as seriously as we actually do. And
LSU is kind of a powerful entity when it comes to science and
research.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
Research.
Think, but
I was-
our labs don't reflect it.
So I was
Right,
at
exactly.
I was at a business a BRAC luncheon maybe about 6 months, a year ago, where they were presenting the patent guys over at the LSU were presenting, and talking about the process from a research standpoint. And I thought it was fascinating, and I didn't never
incredible.
realize how people don't think that. Really,
Yeah.
that surprises me. So
LSU has the patent for the first drought-resistant rice ever came from an LSU Ag Center faculty member, and we hold that patent.
awesome. So before we change gears and talk about you guys and not the foundation, what's on the horizon? What do we need to know about what's going on coming up with the foundation? Anything that we need to mark our calendars about? And look, frankly, if we just want to get more information, if you're like me and you just want to learn some more about the LSU Foundation, where would you go? That's a cue for the website.
Take that.
Yes. So our website, lsufoundation.org, and we are in the middle of our Fierce for the Future campaign.
Here's for the
We
future.
are proud to announce that we hit that halfway mark over a year before we anticipated.
Jessica, what is Fierce for the Future? What is that? Tell me.
Fierce for the Future. So that is our first statewide that includes our flagship campuses across the state, as well as TAF and Alumni Association.
Awesome.
So we're all coming together to show that LSU is Fierce for the Future.
I like it. I like us.
We have a $1.5 billion goal.
Yes, 1.5
That's a lot.
billion.
That's a lot of clams.
Yes.
That's a lot of Geaux Rouge bucks, if you will. So, okay, we need to change gears. Part of the reason, I must admit, as much as I want to talk about the foundation, and I do want to talk about the foundation, I like it when people are working for amazing places. And by the way, they're doing some great stuff for the community too that people may not know about. And so when I talked to Adrian about this, y'all's names came up. So I want to talk about some of the side community projects you guys are working on. We can start with whomever you want, but I know some of the stuff Adrian's working on, but we're going to still talk about it. And little known fact about Adrian, by the way, Brian, she's a vegetarian, but if you ever want good advice on where to eat someplace in Baton Rouge, she is married to a carnivore, and she has the best food advice. If I'm considered a foodie, this one is a super foodie bad whatever. I can't say on the radio. So food is good. So look, Jessica, do you want to start off? Tell me about some of the other organizations you're involved in.
Yeah, sure. I think the main organization that I'm involved with that's so a passion project for me is the Junior League of Baton Rouge.
I'm familiar. I'm acquainted.
Yes.
I want to be the first male member of the Junior League. I don't think it's going to happen, but
you
it's
have
okay.
to follow a long line of men who also want to get
You know what?
there.
I am happy to support from a distance. To buy my raffle tickets, to whether it's the Rolex or the Mercedes, I'm happy to support from a distance. Junior League is an amazing organization.
There's a lot more that we do besides that.
There is.
Yeah, there is more. I need to know more.
You
I was
know-
getting excited.
No, I'm sorry.
What I'm so proud of the Junior League is when you really look at our mission, it's about developing the potential of women.
Right.
And what we want is to provide opportunities for women to come in, to meet another, amazing other women, but also to be trained. And our hope and our goal is that when you're done with your time in the Junior League as an active member, that you're going on to serve on other boards and that your impact is going to continue to be greater on this community.
Women lifting up other women,
Exactly.
mentoring, providing guidance. I like it. So your main side community piece, in addition to what you do with the LSU Foundation, is Junior League.
It is
correct?
the Junior League.
Are you also in the Junior League?
I am.
Are you guys in the Junior League?
I am not.
I am not.
trying
Krista,
to
I'm not
get
in the
Krista
Junior
in
League.
the Junior League. I'm trying really hard. So
Okay.
in addition to providing tremendous impact in the lives of women and developing women, the Junior League also does a lot in the community. We have a number of community programs like the Diaper Bank that provides diapers to mothers that can't afford them.
If you don't have kids, you may not get that. That is a big deal.
Yeah.
I have a 4-year-old. He doesn't wear diapers anymore.
Congratulations.
Victory is
Yeah,
apparent.
yeah.
But I never realized it until I had a kid. That is a big deal and a big expense. I mean, Brian has like 1,000 kids. Like,
Good for
Three.
you.
Three.
Congratulations.
I have
Yeah.
3, and the third one's finally.
dude,
he's
it's a game
3 years
changer.
old. So yeah,
It's getting out of the diapers, getting on the
Getting out of the
potty.
So,
2 thumbs up.
yeah.
So
So
back-
you can empathize.
Yes, that was what I was trying to say a long way.
So I too am in the junior league. I serve on executive management right now, and I agree it is a really rewarding experience. In addition to that, I'm like you, a change maker. You were a former change maker.
Yes.
With New Schools for Baton Rouge.
Yes.
So really learning about how to positively impact the public education, K through 12 education in Baton Rouge. So I'm really passionate about education. That's why I choose to work at LSU. That's why I choose to volunteer with New Schools. And then I'm also right now raising money for Boys and Girls Club.
Awesome.
I am a great
Club Blue.
teacher at Club Blue.
Shout out to Adrian. And by the way, guys, if you're listening to this, you need to support her.
Thank you.
You can buy a ticket to the Great Futures Gala event. We'll post something for Adrian.
That'd be awesome.
And if you mark, every time you buy a ticket, Brian, you mark
my
her,
name.
and
Pick
she
my
gets
name.
credit for it. She has to raise, how much money is it?
I have to raise $3,000 total,
You got
and
this.
I'm about halfway there.
You got
so
this.
I would love your support. It all goes directly to support the Boys and
and
Girls
Girls
Club.
Club. Yes.
They're doing great things in the community as well. So
Awesome.
Krista.
Krista, what are you doing? You're doing some stuff, right?
always
I've
doing
heard,
stuff.
I've heard some things about Krista.
Well,
All good stuff.
My
All good
first,
stuff.
my current most active project is I'm a new mom. So I have a 7-month-old.
Congratulations.
So shout out to all the moms out there. You're my heroes. Especially Brian, you with 3. That feels like 84 to use your number, Franz.
Yes.
I am on the board of Mary Bird Perkins.
Awesome.
Really passionate about. I lost an aunt at 43 to breast cancer. And so they do a ton of great things in the cancer space. But the thing that I love that they do is they have a mobile mammography unit. One of the reasons that Louisiana is not number 1 for rates of incidence of breast cancer, but we are number 1 for mortality. And the reason that is because when women find their breast cancer, they find it late here, and that is an access to treatment and treatment as well. And so I love that Mary Bird goes in that mobile mammography bus to places where women can get mammograms that they wouldn't otherwise. And I'm also a new board member to Teach for America, which
Awesome.
is I was actually supposed to do Teach for America. This is a little known fact. I was placed to teach 2nd grade mathematics in Atlanta, Georgia. And for all involved, it's probably good that I did not do that. But the LSU Foundation came knocking, and it seemed like such an extraordinary opportunity. So it is great to be, I feel sort of back home with Laura Vincent and her awesome team and
Yes.
the rest of my fellow board members there.
Lots of hat you ladies are wearing. So I am a big fan of the Mary Bird Perkins group. We in fact are organizing a Wingomania Wing Festival in March, Brian, where the proceeds will all go to
Awesome.
to Our Lady of the Lake, Mary Bird Perkins. Ethan Bush, by the way, is actually going to be one of the competitors, slinging wings. So yeah, great entities. How do you guys do it all? Like, how do you juggle Junior League, New Schools for Baton Rouge, Great Futures Gala? Oh, by the way, I'm on these boards. How do you find time to juggle it? If you're a woman or a dude out there watching this and you're thinking, man, I wish I could be like Jessica or Krista or Adrian, what's the secret? What's the pro tip here?
Shipped.
Say again?
Shipped to have your groceries delivered.
Oh,
So,
that's
okay,
smart.
so
So
note
much
to self,
time.
Yeah.
do not go to grocery store,
Yeah.
have
Yeah.
it shipped.
That's
Oh,
a smart one.
okay, so time management is what you're trying to say,
management.
Jessica, right?
Yes.
Okay, what else?
So I read a few years ago. I read Sheryl Sandberg's book Lean In, and it's so good for It's good for women, men, Martians, zebras, anybody who wants to read it.
Zebras.
But I love that in the book she said, the myth sort of that we tell ourselves is that like we can have it all, and it's we can have it all, but we can't have it all at the same time.
Right.
And I think the way that anyone is able to do a lot of different things is to give yourself grace in different spaces, like I think that initial mom guilt, right, of like going back to work. Well, I love my career, but I love her too, sort of a thing. Just giving yourself grace in those spaces, and then understanding that, like, some days we're going to be great for our boards, and or other days we're going to be great for work. We're going to be great for our families. And I would say having a great tribe. I consider both these ladies like in my like wolf pack tribe.
So Adrian is a good example of somebody I consider, and I'm going to speak flatteringly of you. Someone I consider to be somebody essential to being in your tribe. I don't know you guys as well, but I was talking to Kenny Wynn about this. There are people that you just want in your circle. Brian Haldane's a good example of it. You just want them in your circle. You can lean on them. You can harass them. You can send them text messages. God knows I've sent you messages before. If you're friends with me, you get the sigh text message every once in a while. Brian is acquainted with it. So yeah, you need to have a tribe, right? Wow. You guys are just really doing some awesome stuff. Before we run out of time, though, guys, we got about 2 minutes left. We've got some Geaux Rouge hats for you behind you. Special gift. Adrian, you get the purple and gold one because they're over here. Adrian gets the perfect purple and gold one because she sent the funnest headshot in
What's
there.
purple and gold?
There should be a purple and gold one in here. If there's not, I have one.
Awesome.
I have one for you. I have one for you.
Okay,
It's purple
I'll
and
hold
gold.
it. I'll hold it.
It's in my car. I got
Okay,
it.
cool.
All right, so
I love it.
purple and gold, Geaux Rouge hats. Thank you guys for coming in. And look, last
Franz,
thing.
how do you do it all?
That's a long conversation.
You
I'm
are
gonna have to
like
get
the
you back.
most. You are the
So,
most busy person. I know.
time management is my big thing. Also, being available to try to mentor people and reverse mentoring is a big part of my life. I also don't sleep a lot, which is a problem.
That's my thing. Yeah, don't sleep.
Work-life balance is something I constantly struggle with. We tongue-in-cheek make fun of the fact that it looks like I'm never lawyering, but my day job actually consumes a large portion of my time. So it's the balancing act of making everything look seamless, while at the same time you're like the duck on the water and your legs are like flapping to. But really, it's just organization and time management.
Yeah.
And now it's becoming, saying no. Leaning in is important, but now it's I can't do everything. I can't be all places at all times. And saying no now is painful because in the beginning, when I was trying to build my brand and my tribe, I was happy just to be invited to the party. Oh, they love me. They want to invite me to the party. So look, great question. We need to follow up on this. How do we all do it all? So look, before we go, I need to say something. We have a giveaway that we're going to be doing. So stick around on Facebook Live. There's a food event coming up. Laura Sue is doing a story food event that if you share this video, you have a chance to win. I have 2 tickets.
Nice.
Adrian's
I'm
been
gonna
to
be
the
there.
food. Adrian, you've been to the food event. I've been to it. It's part
awesome.
story. It's part culture. It's part food. All you got to do
good
is
food.
share
important,
this
yeah.
video. It's all about bribing love here at Geaux Rouge. Look, you've been listening to the LSU Foundation. Krista, Adrian, Jessica, thank you guys for coming in.
Thank
Brian,
you. Tigers.
Brian,
Go Tigers.
Thank
Go Tigers.
you for doing the
We
board.
coming.
Franz Borghardt, y'all have a great day.
Bye.
Bye.
All right, so we're still on Facebook Live. Let's talk about this real fast.
Thank you, yeah.
And I do have a purple. You know what happened? Aishala
I just wear this
or
hat?
Brandon Romano took the purple hat
Oh my
that I
God,
brought
I'm
specifically.
so scandalized.
This is so awesome.
I'm just gonna wear
Thank
this.
you
You're welcome.
so
So
much.
the thing about the hats, take a photo with you ladies in the hats.
Okay.
Getting
Can
a
we do it
picture
right
of
now?
all 3 of
Can
you
we do
guys.
it?
Yeah.
Yes.
Getting
Right
a picture
now?
of all 3 of you guys to
Yes.
promo for the show was
Can you
kind
take
of
this?
Yeah, of course.
Hold on, let me take down my bouffant.
Your hairs are.
Guys,
By the way,
Facebook
your hairs
Live.
are all looking great.
Mine's gonna
We're still on
out like a
Facebook
rocket,
Live.
right?
so cute.
So here's
Just let it happen. Franz.
while they're getting ready, I'm going to share this information with you guys because Laura Sue, if you're listening, and I hope you are,
Hi, Laura.
Laura, we are giving away 2 tickets to.
You're like a.
So we're giving away, Brian, 2 tickets to Laura's event. It is at LTO. What's the date on that?
The
It's
20th?
The 20th.
I
All
could be wrong.
Yeah,
That might
it's-
not be right.
These are expensive tickets. These
are.
are actually expensive tickets,
They
not
are.
like in a bad way expensive. So all you got to do is share this video and tag Geaux Rouge in it, and you
It's
have
sold out in like an hour. Like,
Yeah, I bought
had to
4
call a
tickets
friend.
just so
yeah.
I could give them away.
I had to call
Nice.
Kenny and
So-
Laura to get mine.
Can Brian take it so you're in it with us?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Smart,
Brian, can you
Krista.
take
I
a
love the
picture
way
of
you
us?
think.
Yeah. Nobody's gonna believe that I hung out with these ladies unless we take a picture. So here you go. Here's 2 tickets.
I wish I could see what we're
Thank you guys for coming in. I know y'all are.
Thank you.
That's it.
And if y'all have anything y'all want to come in and talk about, all you gotta do is give me some heads up. We also do Thirsty Thursdays at Sullivan's.
Oh,
So we do
yeah.
shorter,
We need to go.
shorter 15-minute to 20-minute interview video, whatever. That can be on the fly. So whatever you want to,
God.
if you've got something coming
Okay.
up, or
Okay.
whether it's a junior league, whether it's anything, just let me know.
Awesome.
All right, let's do these photos. Is it tight enough? Yes.
Sweet.
One more picture. Wait. This is on yours.
Psych. Oh, psych,
Quality
psych, psych.
cameras.
Can we talk about the back of that camera?
Right? It's amazing.
Who's this thing?
So check it out. It's a handle
Okay.
because I'm clumsy.
Thank you.
Oh,
And it holds.
my wife
like,
has giant.
it's
blonde
brilliant.
Mufasa hair.
Yes.
And so
You
those
get
are all
it.
over the house,
You get it.
and
She sounds wonderful.
so she is. God bless her. The biggest commodity in my household right now is blowouts. And Brian,
Oh yeah.
Facebook Live, that's it. We're going to start talking about doing blowouts now. So the biggest commodity in my house are the blowouts.